So Neerja, it's lovely to have you on Influencers.
Thank you so much, Devna. It's wonderful to be here with you.
So Neerja, the Neerja Birla Group has over 40 schools in rural areas where you have your units. You have your school for integrated learning, you have your IB school, you have this Empower Center. What's the roadmap for education for the group?
So to add to that, we've just launched a teacher academy actually, a teacher education academy, Aditya Birla Education Academy, which is again to basically, it's on the spectrum of education and it's for the professionals, for educators, for teachers. The idea being that, the whole paradigm of knowledge giving is just changing so much, and what is really expected out of the children now is so different from what it was when we were growing up. So we're just offering courses that will help the teachers with these new age skills. So that's a venture that we've just started. Our first cohort, first batch starts next month.
Lovely, congratulations.
Of teachers, and we have a couple of good courses. We have one from Nottingham, we have one from UPenn, we have another one from Iowa. So yeah, a basket of courses that we have out there. Yeah. I'm more involved and really hands-on with the schools we have in Bombay. And I think the roadmap is very clear to me. It's basically growing in education and mental health, because I think the two really go together hand in hand. I've not given myself any numbers because I believe sky is the limit.
So it seems with your educational endeavors, with the integrated school, now with this Empower Center, you're offering services to children who aren't able to cope with the world yet.
My own experiences, when my kids were growing up, I saw that children with learning disabilities were often given second-class citizen treatment, being pulled out of class, being ridiculed by other students. And I think schools in general are not so sensitive to their needs. So I think that's where that was the genesis of the integrated school. And Empower, again, I guess it just happened. Mental health is something which is very close to me. So I guess it just fell into place like that, and I think I think I found my calling.
But Empower takes on the responsibility of dealing with the mental health issues of children. I know you offer to young adults as well, but it's a big responsibility to deal with that as far as children are concerned. And a big concern is that counselors here are not yet equipped enough to deal with it compared to the West.
So what you're saying is absolutely right. It is a huge responsibility, and so therefore we have to be very careful, and we're very particular about the therapists and counselors and doctors we have on board. So we've got a very good team, well experienced, well educated, and they're really doing a good job. So getting the team in place is very difficult. I mean, in the sense, getting the right people, because it is a real crunch. Getting good counselors is very difficult. So I think
Why do you think that is?
Because I think they're not. I don't think the training is good enough. I think there aren't that many psychiatric colleges. Hospitals, even mainstream well-known hospitals, don't have psychiatric wards. So I think it's like a vicious circle. I mean, we don't have enough colleges, we don't have enough feeding into coming in, and therefore we don't have the output. There's not that much input, and therefore the output is not as much. So it is very tough, and in fact, something I want to do to address that is actually start an arm, a vertical of Empower, which will get into academics. Because till we don't create more bandwidth, till we don't create a task force, we can't really grow this, because it's only that much. So you have to increase the base has to be increased, the task force has to be increased. Only then we'll be able to reach out and create many more Empowers and reach out to many more people.
So how do you make money in a model like this? In a school, in a center like this, how quickly do you make money?
Yeah, so Empower cannot make money, and that's a given actually. So in fact, the team and I are just figuring out how do we get our funds. That's a question that is there on our minds all the time, because it cannot break even. So even to think that it can break even is a fallacy. So we are working with the premise that it is not going to break even. So we do need funds, we do need donations, we do need corporates to come out and support us and make it their CSR, because that's the way it is going to be. Schools, the schools are breaking even, they're doing well. I mean, so like I said, it's not profit making, and I'm not in it to make profit. So for me, education is not about making profit at all. But yes, it is self-sufficient, and I'm happy about that.
And it's important to be self-sufficient.
It has to be self-sufficient, because I'm not doing a charity. So where we are doing charity, we know we're doing charity, but where we're not, we're not. So there's no confusion there.
So what does education mean to you today, in today's context?
So I feel education is all-rounded. It's very holistic. There's one part of it which is academic, which is important because that is content-driven, but there's a lot of it which is not academic. And I feel that emotional intelligence is a very, very critical part of overall education. So I think that really needs to roll into the curriculum. So for example, like what we do is, we've just rolled a mentorship program, for example. We have a program which runs across, right from lower KG right up to grade 12, which deals with character building, strength building, resilience, coping mechanisms, about mental health, all those things, and how do you make individuals, how do you make the youth really be able to go out there and face the world when they do. Because I mean, school, let's face it, is a very small microcosm. It's a really small bubble that you are in, and when you step out there, the world is really quite different. So I think we have to equip them with skills for that.
So a lot of children are suffering from stress, anxiety, eating disorders at a very young age today. What do you blame that on? Social media, technology, too much screen time, parental pressure, bullying? Because they're very, very young today.
One has to be exposed, but at age appropriate times, because you have to be mentally, emotionally, in the frame of mind to be able to handle what you're getting, right? So I think because there's so much exposure, a lot of it is, kids are having to deal with a lot of things much earlier than really they can. So that includes, of course, social media, that includes screen time, that even includes the kind of movies that we're seeing, that includes Netflix, that includes the ads that they're seeing on TV. It's just about everywhere, right? I mean, it's just everywhere. So that is one important thing. And of course, living in nuclear families does add to it, because then the pressure does come either only on the mom or the dad or both, depending on what the situation at home is. That obviously also makes a difference. Then, honestly, all of us, we all have our own sort of journeys to traverse now. So we all have our own little things to do, and time is only that much, right? So it does take away a little bit from time that you would have spent with the children otherwise. So I think it's just a combination of things, I think, and it'll be unfair to say that there are only cons. I think there's a lot of positivity also. And I think, according to me, I believe, and I may be totally wrong, but I think really striking a balance is what is really important, because it is important to do what you really want to do, but at the same time, you don't want to neglect your children as well. So I guess striking the right balance is key.
In a Marwari context, it's definitely not okay to not be okay, which is something you say very often.
I know. So, in the Marwari context, a lot of things are not okay, honestly. I mean, I have broken a lot of stereotypes. I don't know whether I'm labeled as rebel or not, but I don't think I'm a rebel. I've just kind of wanted to do things a little bit differently from the way it was traditionally done. And
you're kind of opening up the doors for your daughters and your son, of course, but for your daughters in particular.
Yes, that was very important, actually.
Which is also a part of education.
It is.
And a holistic approach.
It really is, and you know how it was.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of gender bias, something that I couldn't deal with, honestly, and I just wanted to do it differently, because I didn't want my kids, whether a girl or a boy, honestly, to go through any kind of gender discriminations, because one has seen enough of it, really. Yeah. And I don't think it's fair. So whether it's my son who wants to play cricket and doesn't at this point in time want to follow the family business, which itself was a struggle. I mean, I really had to stick my neck out. Or my daughter who's gone into doing music. I've always brought them up in a manner to express themselves freely, and I guess in that they were sort of exploring, and I think they just realized that this is what they wanted to do, and they just sort of followed it. And I kind of let them. I mean, the only thing that I did tell them is that I have no problem in whatever you want to do, but just give it your best. You need to excel in what you do and reach your potential. Once you know that you've reached your potential, wherever that may be, then I'm happy. So that's the only thing that I told them, that, I don't want you to be then, fooling around or faffing. Don't do that. Be true to yourself, be true to what you choose, and I'm there with you all through.
Because there is a sort of fear of that silver platter and, not having to.
In fact, Devnath, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people coming from similar backgrounds must have faced it, but actually my kids faced the reverse. Their surname actually went against them. So whether it was my son for cricket, or whether it's my daughter who has made a mark in her field, the surname actually went against them because people never took them seriously initially. They always thought that they're just there for a lark. Comments like, तुमको क्या करना है, तुम्हारे पास तो इतना पैसा है, तुम क्यों आके क्रिकेट खेल रहे हो, या what do you have to do, you don't need to really sing, you're just doing it for the fun of it, you have a lot of money at your disposal. But what people don't realize is that is one part of it. I mean, their hard work is there. I mean, how can anybody rob them of their hard work and dedication? I mean, nothing comes easy to anybody, right? And everybody's allowed to have a dream.
So where would you like to see, the situation with mental health, with education changing over the next 5 to 10 years?
So I think in the field of mental health, what would be really great is to see infrastructure in terms of, say, hospitals, nursing homes, in-care patient centers. I don't think that suddenly they can spring up, but at least, people get more aware of it, the dialogue starts. And I think in the last 3 years, we have initiated dialogue, and I think we've sort of managed to get people to talk about it. I think that, media is talking about it, people are talking about it. There's definitely far more openness than what there was. So I think just taking that forward, I think would be great to really see.
Are you going to be opening a lot more empowers?
Yes, I do. I do. Bangalore is next on the list. So yeah, I mean, I really do want to. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Devnath. Thank you. Thanks very much.